And welcome to Family Life Today. Thanks for joining us. And once again, we've got maybe the world's greatest studio audience joining us here at the Christian Alliance for Orphans Summit. And we're going to talk about something that your heart for this subject has been expanded in a personal way over the last several years.
It has. Barbara and I have 6 children, one of whom is adopted. We don't know which one. But our children have picked up the virus, the adoption virus, and we now have 21 grandchildren through biological means, but also adoption. And there's a couple here. My engrafted son, Michael Eskew, and his wife, who is our daughter, Ashley, are here with us, over here all the way to the right. You guys stand up real quickly and wave. They have... They sent me a card the other day that introduces my latest grandson, and it has a picture of their 5 boys welcoming their new little brother. And Ashley and Michael have cared for 21 foster care children over the years and have emptied their county of any waiting children in the foster care system. Little William David, we call him Will, joined us, and he's a picture, I think, of what's waiting across the country for the church to step forward. And we have a hero with us that I think fulfills one of the words that Christ gave in his Sermon on the Mount. Matthew chapter 5 says, "In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven." You are about to meet a hero who has let his light shine along with his wife Mary of 38 years. Bishop Aaron Blake is going to join us on the stage. Come on up, Bishop.
Bishop Blake, join us.
Thank you.
Welcome to the broadcast and our small studio here, okay? He has been a pastor for more than 35 years. He and his wife Mary have been married for 38. And for a number of years, Bishop, you served as a bivocational pastor, and you were a high school guidance counselor. And that's really where the surgery for your heart began around the subject of foster care. Share how that happened.
Well, the school that I was presently serving had a situation where a number of kids came into the school that were in foster care. Many times, kids that moved from placement to placement had a situation where they lost credits every placement. So being there as a guidance counselor / social worker, I wanted to find out how we can recover the credits of those kids so that wouldn't be another setback for them. So I wanted them to send those kids to me, and my journey started when one kid came to me with that problem.
That was Melvin who came to you, right?
Well, when he came into the office now, he came in the office with a little chip on his shoulder and a little attitude.
Yeah.
So he came in and sat down in the desk in front of me, and he said, "I don't know who you are, and I don't know what you do, but you can't make me go to class." And I said, "Well, I'm not the principal. I'm not the one that makes you do anything, but when you decide that you want to go to Brownwood High School, let me know." And he sat in front of me. Well, he sat through first period, second period, third period, and then the bell rang for lunch. He said, "Are you going to let me go eat?" And I said, "Man, you don't have any lunch because you're not enrolled." So I thought food would convince him that maybe he needs to get in class. And he said, "Well, we'll just sit here then." And then after the last bell rang, I got hungry. So we went to lunch, and that started the dialogue of who Melvin was. But on the way to lunch, I noticed he had some biceps and triceps. So on the way to lunch, I took him through the football gymnasium and dressing room. It's something about a sock-smelling dressing room that goes into the head and nostril of a kid. And he said, "Do you think I can play football for Brownwood High School?" And I said, "No way." He said, "Why?" "You won't go to class." We go get a burger, we come back. We come back through the hall where all of the trophies and the pictures on the wall, and that was my high school alma mater, by the way. And 2 of those championships I was on, and that was my picture. I said, "You see that guy there?" And he said, "Don't tell me that was you." And I said, "Yes." I said, "We won state championship." Pulled him by the coach's office. Coach began to talk to him and say, "Hey, this is the guy that's going to come and play football?" I said, "No way." He said, "Why?" I said, "Because he won't." And then Melvin hunched me in the side. So what we walked off, and Melvin said, "Hey, I'll make a deal with you. If you get me on the team, I'll go to class." So I got him on the team. He went to class. But my main assignment that day was to recover Melvin's lost credits. How he was in one school, and before he could take his final, he moved because of something happening, losing credits. Many kids across the country in foster care, these things happen. That's why the dropout rate and the inability to finish high school is high amongst foster children.
Had he been in foster care his whole life?
He went into foster care when he was 19, and he sat in front of me when he was 15.
Went in when he was 9?
Nine.
He was 9?
Did I say 19?
19,
did.
yeah.
That's all right.
To say he went backwards.
We edit these broadcasts. It's
Oh, well,
great.
thank you.
It's live here, but it's not when we broadcast it. You know, you not only cared about his lost credits, you also cared about his lost soul. And so you went home that day to have a conversation with your wife, Mary, who by that point, you guys were in the empty nest, right?
Yes.
And you hadn't been talking to her about foster care kids, and you kind of went home and announced something to her.
Well, yeah, you know, we had 6 biological children.
Right.
And the baby of that 6 is sitting there on the front row. Her name is Anna. So we had 18 months now, 18 months of an empty nest.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Lord.
It's
glory.
glorious.
Woo!
It's glorious. Give me 5.
Yes. So Mary and I had the freedom. Well, I won't go into that. Yeah. But Mary and I, we had an empty nest. And but what had happened was Melvin had gotten into class, gotten on the football team, and had some success that year. And then at the end of the year, something happened with his placement. And so CPS called and said, "We're coming to get Melvin." So the school transferred the call to me, and they said, "Would you prep Melvin, because we're going to have to move him. We know he's having success, but something happened." Before I could get to Melvin, the CPS worker had already gotten to the school and told Melvin that he was going to move. Melvin bolted out the door, ran to the side of the building, across the football field. Melvin ran about a 4.8 in track, but that day he probably ran a 4.2. He ran down the street and was gone. The CPS worker came and said, "He probably is going to contact you because of relationship." That evening, I stayed at the school late. Melvin came into my emergency entry door. Now, there's emergency exits everywhere, all around here. But for some students that needed to see me and not go through bureaucracy, they would come into my emergency entry door. Melvin came in that door. Usually he came in every period because he'd leave his books there, and I became a locker room for him. But he came in and sat in the same chair in front of my desk that he sat in the first day that he came to see me. And he sat in that desk after running, perspiration drenched his body, his clothes, running down his face. I couldn't tell the tears running down his face from the perspiration. We sat what seemed like 15 minutes, but probably only 15 seconds. And finally, he squeaked out these words, is the reason why I'm here today. He said, Brother Blake, will you help me? Well, I didn't understand what helping a 15-year-old in foster care was about. I had counseled folks with marriage, death and dying, jail, all kinds of situations, but never a foster kid that was in the system that had went in 9 different placements since he was in high school.
Wow.
And now he was sitting in front of me. And I said this to him. I said, Melvin, if I could, I'd take you home with me. He said, really? I said, yes. He said, you would take me home with you. I said, in a heartbeat. I said, but CPS is coming and you have to go with them. He said, okay. I said, Melvin, I'm going to call them and they're going to come and you have to go with them, right? He said, okay. I said, they're going to, he said, I got it. I walked him to the curb. He get in the car. They drive away. I'm standing on the curb and I said, man, I'm good. But I wasn't good. I learned 6 months later that Melvin heard something that I didn't think I said, but I understood. Melvin told the caseworker that Brother Blake said that I can come live with him. So they called me and they said, Melvin said that you said he can come live with you. I said, wow. While I had the phone to my ear, I couldn't say no. There was something happening in my spirit, in my heart, that I couldn't say no. At the same time, Mary was in my mind, and I couldn't say yes. On the way home, I rehearsed over and over what I was going to say to Mary. I mean, I went through all kinds of stuff, and Mary doesn't talk a lot. Usually when I get home, I regurgitate my day and I tell everything. And at supper that night, she was just going off about everything. I didn't hear nothing she said. I was trying to figure out what I was going to say. Then finally I said, guess what happened to me today? And then I told about Melvin. I didn't know that Melvin had been in her Sunday school class. She said, you mean little Melvin doesn't have a home? I said, no. She said, little Melvin that goes to school? And I said, yes. She said, I hope you told him yes. Oh. I literally almost fell out of my chair. Yeah. I couldn't wait till the next morning to call CPS to tell them, hey, yes, Melvin can come. I called at 8 o'clock straight up and got voicemail. But anyway, finally when I got through, I said, tell Melvin yes. He can come and live with us. We're ready. And then they said, are you a licensed foster parent?
Yeah, our audience knows a little bit about that.
Yes. Well, I didn't know anything about it. I said, what do you bother us at? Well, we quickly found an agency, went through the process, and Melvin came to live with us. So that's how that story.
That was the first of, yeah. Melvin was the first of 6 foster sons. All of them foster sons, is that right?
Yes. Yes, all of them foster. And let me tell you this story quickly, if I can. Melvin played football. Good running back. The outside tight end was a foster kid. Blew his placement. At practice, Melvin went to him and said, don't worry about it. I know where you can go.
That was number 2?
That was number 2.
Oh, man.
But then the outside linebacker blew his placement.
Now, you know how many kids are on a football team.
Well, I do. So Melvin and Joseph goes and says to Buck, we call him Buck, don't worry about it, guy. We can't lose you. We got to win the playoffs. So he came to live with us.
Wow.
CPS called and says he has a brother We love to keep siblings together. And he came to us. 6 boys later, our house was filled up.
Man, oh man.
Wow.
Yes.
So did they win the state championship?
They won district and went into the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
You were a bivocational pastor at that time. As
Yes.
your church watched you do this, what was the impact on your congregation?
Well, CPS, and I loved them, and I got a lady that's a retired CPS worker, and she came to be a part of our team. Audra Decken, that's sitting there today. CPS would call me, and they would say things like, "Hey, Pastor Blake, you know you could be a group home and have 12." And I said, yes, and all 12 of us would be on the street because Mary would put us out. But I went to my church, and I stood up one Sunday. Heart was heavy because at that particular time there were 30,000 kids in the system in Texas. And I would get the calls, and I also noticed there were overrepresentation of African American children in disproportionality that was also in the system. So God began to deal with me that Sunday on the ministry of reconciliation. Mm-hmm. And reconciliation without restoration won't work. God has called us, because he's reconciled us by Christ to himself, and given us the ministry of reconciliation. But then I say, God, how can I really preach James 1:27, pure and undefiled religion, without understanding restoration of families and restoration of children? Right. So I stood up that Sunday in front of my congregation, and I said, guys, how many of you here would help me stand up for orphans? And I didn't mean literally stand up, but a lady in the back stood up and said, Pastor, I will. And then another one stood up and said, I will. And another one stood up and said, I will. A year later, 36 kids were in our church because of Stand Up Sunday.
That's cool. That's really cool.
And from there, I wanted to be personally involved because of my work with the school and seeing the plight of what happens to kids educationally, what plight of kids, what happens through families that are broken. I wanted to be personally involved in not only the adoption part and foster care part of it in our church, but in the day-to-day process, so kids wouldn't be bouncing from home to home and placement to placement and out of their community. So I told the case manager and the case worker that me and my family, Mary, and our church wanted to be personally involved, training that in our church. And so the agency was licensing so many families that they moved into our church. So from then, 10 years until now, the agency offices in our church, wow. And we are personally involved because we don't want kids bouncing from place to place, and we don't want kids aging out of care without a forever family.
Just real quickly, but because there's one more of the 6 that you engrafted into your family that I want you to talk about. You're on a mission now about the entire state of Texas.
Yes.
Share just a quick, if you can, about how you're embodying the ministry of reconciliation there.
Well, the purifying part of James 1:27 that happened to Mary and I is that we wanted to make sure that the body of Christ, across racial lines, across denominational lines, understand that the only way that we're going to really understand as a body of Christ and heal our nation and our children and broken families is reconciliation and restoration. What's happening in Baltimore and what's happening across the country, the church has been absent with foster care and adoption. They've been absent with racial reconciliation, family reconciliation. Yes. And so it's time for the church to stand up and say, we're the voice. We have the ministry of reconciliation, and we're restoring families.
Yeah, I agree. And you and I could fight for the soapbox at this point, because I think this is a huge opportunity for the church. And the 2,500 folks who are here at the Orphan Summit, you are the church. You can take this back to your local church, and we can make a difference in our individual communities. I want you to introduce us to a young man who you engrafted in, one of the 6 foster care boys that you cared for. Tell us about Diego.
Well, Diego, even when they would be upstairs at our house, and they would be beating, doing all that kind of stuff.
What was that?
What's that? That was what they were doing when they didn't have all the machines and all the stuff to make the sounds. They were rapping.
Okay.
So I would say, guys, quit beating and spitting and going on. And so Diego would try to come up with lines and lyrics and all that kind of stuff. And so he started rapping back then. But what happened was, Diego was at one of our meetings that we were having across the state, and I had never told, because I didn't want our guys to be put on Front Street, about an incident that happened. But Mark had a candle he put in the window. They said something else happened. But anyway, Mark's story was he had a candle in the window, and the wind blew in, caught the curtain, went up the wall, and our house burned down. Well, we were having a meeting like this and telling folks that you need to step up and you need to become foster parents and you need to adopt. And then Diego stands up and say, we burnt the house down.
A great advertisement for foster care, huh?
Yes. But Diego went on to say, he said, I knew that my mom, and he called me Pop, and my dad, Pop, really loved us unconditionally the next morning after the fire. That night, early, 4 o'clock in the morning, we went and we went to Walmart and we bought clothes, like any family would do if you have something happen. And then we got a hotel, and then we found a place to live. Well, the boys the next morning didn't want to go to school. And I said, what's going on? And they said this. They said, we do not want to go to school and CPS come and pick us up at school and embarrass us. And he told the story. I knew that Mom and Dad loved me because we had been moved from place to place for stuff less than that. And we knew they loved us. Yeah. So that's Diego.
Hey, Pop,
That's true.
We got a little
There's
surprise
something
for
the
you.
audience knows that you don't.
Oh my, my goodness. Love you, Pop. I dreamed about this. Love you, Pop. Thank you, boy.
Diego, have a seat.
Diego, have a seat
Wow.
right here.
Have a seat.
I
So,
dreamed this. I did.
He did
Did you
dream
really?
it.
I dreamed this
He
last
texted
night.
me and said, "Where you at?"
I texted him and said, where are you? You need to be here. He said, I'm somewhere.
Yeah, I was somewhere.
Have a seat.
Wow.
we thought this young arsonist ought to come out and tell these folks that morning when Pop said to you, it's okay.
Well, like he explained in the story, when we did burn the house down, we burnt the house down. And honestly, man, we thought that we was heading somewhere else. We thought we was gonna be going to another foster home or somewhere else. And man, when I tell you this man, after the house burned down, instead of coming to us and fussing at us and stuff, he took us. The only place was open was Walmart. He just took us to Walmart, bought us some clothes, and to go to school the next day. So we went to school, and y'all, we after school we worked out. We didn't want to get back home because we knew that hey, we was going somewhere else. So we worked out. We stayed away from the house as long as we possibly could, and we of course we got home at the time that he allowed us to come home, and we thought we was gone. And next thing you know, we was going to a different course. Your mom's house, moved us into his mom's house, and like we was there, and he was like, "Y'all are my boys. Like y'all are engrafted in, and there's nothing that you can do to separate basically my love for you." And just being, just being 6 boys that never had the type of love that him and Mama showed us. Is she here? Is
No,
Mama not
she's
here?
not here.
Oh, I haven't seen her in a long time. But just being the 6 boys that he and Mama showed us that love, man, that was just so awesome. And it transformed our life, man, and it really changed our destiny and the things that we are doing in life now.
Yeah. You probably don't know this, but Dennis has a favorite assignment that he likes to give to folks like you that I think you can probably improv this on the spot. You want to give him the assignment?
Yeah, you just heard him, without addressing you, break down weeping about his love for you and how proud he is of you and the privilege of loving you. Mm-hmm. You got him face to face. You got a chance to give him a tribute. Would you like to do it?
Yeah, I give him a little something, something. I give him a little something, something. And so, of course, y'all know about engrafted. And I think you said something about engrafted. Your engrafted son. I was listening in the back, and this man, when we first came to his house, he said, "Hey, you're not foster children." He said, "You are engrafted into my home." He said, "I'm your pop, and everything that belongs to me, it now belongs to you." And we took advantage of it too, because we was engrafted in. And he said the same way with the kingdom. Now you're engrafted into the kingdom of God, and everything that belongs to God now belongs to you, Diego. And so, of course, I'm a gospel artist. I do gospel rap, and I wrote a song called, I titled my album Engrafted. And it just reflects the love that he showed us and the love that God is showing me now. And so God has blessed me with opportunities to travel the country and to be able to rap. And so I guess I'll do that little tribute that the song is called Engrafted. Do y'all want to hear it? Yeah. Okay. But the only way you can hear it, you have to help me out, okay? You got to help me out with the song, okay? Only thing I'm going to say, and y'all have to repeat after me, I'm going to say, "I've been grafted in." And all y'all got to do is repeat that, okay? So let's just practice real quick. I've been grafted in. Say.
I've been grafted in.
I've been grafted in. Say.
I've been grafted in.
Y'all sound pretty good. Next thing y'all have to do is y'all got to stand up with me, okay?
Praise the Lord. Glory.
I rap and I jump around, so y'all can't just stay there and just look at me like this, okay?
Receiving you.
Okay, and so on one part, I'm gonna say hands up, and everybody put their hands up. And then I'm gonna say, "I've been grafted in." Say,
I've been grafted in.
"Oh, y'all look beautiful. I like y'all already." Hey, if you ready, let's go ahead. You can start the track. I like y'all. Y'all sound pretty good. That's not my music. I mean, I can rap to it, but that's not my music. I mean, don't put no pressure on me. I can give it to you how you want me to. My flash drive have my picture on it, and open up the CAFO conference, and then you'll see the title is called Engrafted. And so, man, thank you, Pops. Man, I just love you. You're so awesome. You're so awesome. Yeah. Y'all look beautiful. All right, y'all with me? Y'all remember? Let's practice. Say, "I've been grafted in." 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 Hey, I've been grafted in. Hey, I've been grafted in. Say, "I've been grafted in." Say, "I've been grafted in." Say, "Hey, I've been grafted in." Say, "Yes, I've been grafted in." Say, "Yes, I've been grafted in." Say it. Oh, y'all sound good. Listen, I've been grafted in. No longer live in sin. Hands up like this. Got Christ that's within. He took the old me and burned me up. Say, "I've been grafted in." Say, "I've been grafted in." Hey, I've been grafted in. Say it. "I've been grafted in." Yeah, I've been grafted in. Say it. "I've been grafted in." Hey, I've been grafted in. Say it. "I've been grafted in." Say, "I've been grafted in." Hey, I've been grafted in. Say, "I've been grafted in." Say, "I've been grafted in." Yeah, I've been grafted in. Yeah, I've been grafted in. Yeah, I've been grafted in. Listen, 1686, the date of my birth. God formed me in the womb and put me
on earth. The first 20 of my life, I thought I was cursed. Cause I didn't have a mom and dad, and I hated church. And I got that life that's full of pain. Bitter up in my heart, and it got me feeling this way. Hated my so-called dad, didn't teach me anything. Put a rope around my neck, and he left me out there to hang. I'm supposed to survive, learn how to be a man. I'm supposed to treat my wife and keep a job and make ends meet. Oh man, I'm feeling so incomplete. I'm supposed to build my credit if I'm breaking on every lease. Boy, I've been grafted in. No longer live in sin. Hands up. I got Christ just within. He took the old me and burned me up. So I've been grafted in. Hey, I've been grafted in. Say it. Yeah, I've been grafted in. Say it. Yeah, I've been grafted in. Say it. I've been grafted in. Say it. I've been grafted in. Say it. I've been grafted in. Hey, I've been grafted in. Say it. I've been grafted in. Hey, I've been grafted in. Say it. I've been grafted in. Yeah, I've been grafted in. Say it. I've been grafted in. Listen. And grafted in, we call that agape love. I admit this fight with sin had the boxing gloves. It beat me up and tried to kill me, but I had enough. It tried to hide me like dirt, but God removed the rug. And now ain't nobody like him. It was sin that had my focus. I guess that's when we united. It was a pleasure to my flesh. Throw that bait and I bite it. Hurt my by the worldly things and I loved it. Liked it. To God stripped me naked, broke me and made me heightless. And now I'm grafted in. Guess your boy on this righteous. Acting like I'm all good, acting like I'm all great. But this life is still a struggle. I use this mic to push my way. Yes, I've been grafted in, God. So I no longer live in sin. Hands up one more time. He took the old me and burned me up. Say it. I've been grafted in. Say it. Hey, I've been grafted in. Say it. Hey, I've been grafted in. Say it. Yeah, I've been grafted in. Say it. I've been grafted in. Say it. I've been grafted in. Whisper. Say, I've been grafted in. Say it. Say, I've been grafted in. Say it. Say, I've been grafted in. Say it. Make some Holy Ghost noise in this building.
Boy. Why did you tell me?
I couldn't tell you.
Oh, man.
They call him Diego that go-getter.
Nice job, bro.
Appreciate it.
Good.